NASA's discovery around Venus so far. Is Earth Venus's sister? Venus has long been considered Earth's twin sister. The two planets are very similar in some respects and share many physical and orbital characteristics. Inner planets, varying terrains on the surface, mountains, plains, high plateaus, gorges, volcanoes, crests and impact craters. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel All Things Space. We are back with another blockbuster video. And in today's video we will explore Venus and what did Venus look like, as well as its moons and most importantly its surface and many other factors. Hold on, we are just going to start our video, but before that subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Let's start the video with its discovery. Exploration of Venus. Venus was the first planet to be explored by a spacecraft. NASA's Mariner 2 successfully flew by and scanned the cloud-covered world on December 14, 1962. Since then, numerous spacecraft from the US and other space agencies have explored Venus, including NASA's Magellan, which mapped the planet's surface with radar. On February 5, 1974, NASA's Mariner 10 mission took the first close-up photo of Venus. Made using an ultraviolet filter in its imaging system, the photo has been colour enhanced to bring out Venus's cloudy atmosphere as the human eye would see it. Only 4 spacecraft have ever returned images from Venus's surface. The world next door doesn't make it easy. With searing heat and crushing pressure that quickly destroys any lander, in 1975 and 82, 4 of the Soviet Union's Venera probes captured our only images of Venus's surface. Venus is the second planet from the Sun and is Earth's closest planetary neighbour. It's one of the 4 inner terrestrials or rocky planets, and it's often called Earth's twin because it's similar in size and density. These are not identical twins, however, there are radical differences between the worlds. Venus has crushing air pressure at its surface more than 90 times that of Earth, like the pressure you'd encounter a mile below the ocean on Earth. Another big difference from Earth, Venus rotates on its axis backward compared to most of other planets in the solar system. This means that on Venus the sun rises in the west and sets in the east, opposite to what we experience on Earth. Atmosphere of Venus. The temperature on the surface of Venus is exceptionally hot, and no life could survive there. Venus has a thick toxic atmosphere filled with carbon dioxide, and is perpetually shrouded in thick yellowish clouds of sulfuric acid that trap heat, causing runaway greenhouse effects. It's the hottest planet in our solar system, even though Mercury is close to the Sun. Surface temperatures on Venus are about 900 degrees Fahrenheit or 475 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt lead. The surface is a rusty colour and it's peppered with intensely crunched mountains and thousands of large volcanoes. Scientists think it's possible some volcanoes are still active. The atmosphere of Venus is very hot and thick. You would not survive a visit to the surface of the planet. You couldn't breathe the air. You would be crushed by the enormous weight of the atmosphere, and you would burn up in surface temperatures high enough to melt lead. Can you breathe in the upper atmosphere of Venus? You wouldn't even need hydrogen or helium because the atmosphere of Venus is mostly carbon dioxide, oxygen and nitrogen. Ordinarily breathable air would float. The air that's holding you up is also the air that you can breathe. The lifting gas is your environment. Interior study of Venus. Venus is slightly smaller than Earth, with a diameter 95% of that of Earth, 12,103 kilometers, and a mass of 81% of that of Earth's. If we could walk around on the surface of the planet without being killed by the toxic blast furnace of an atmosphere, gravity would be close to that on the surface of Earth. The interior of Venus is probably likely Earth's interior. Venus, like Earth, is one of the terrestrial planets and is made of rock and metal. It probably has a partly molten metal core, a rock mantle and a crust. The planet rotates very slowly, taking more than 243 Earth days to spin once on its axis, even longer than the time it takes for Venus to orbit the Sun, about 225 Earth days. This may be the reason the planet doesn't have a magnetic field like many of the other planets, including Earth. The varied terrain of Venus, including volcanoes, mountains, craters and lava flows, suggests that the planet was once, and perhaps still is, geologically active. But basic questions about the interior of Venus remain, such as the thickness of the lithosphere. Much less is known about the interior of Venus than about its surface and atmosphere. Nevertheless, because the planet is much like Earth in overall size and density, and because presumably accredited from similar materials, see solar system origin of the solar system, scientists expect that it evolved at least a crudely similar internal state. Therefore, it probably has a core of metal, a mantle of dense rock, and a crust of less dense rock. The core, like that of Earth, is probably composed primarily of iron and nickel, although Venus's somewhat lower density may indicate that its core also contains some other less dense materials such as sulfur. Because no intrinsic magnetic field has been detected for Venus, there is no direct evidence for a metallic core, as there is for Earth. Calculations of Venus's internal structure suggest the outer boundary of the core lies a little more than 3,000 kilometers or 1,860 miles from the center of the planet. A day on Venus is longer than a year. It takes Venus longer to rotate once on its axis than it does to complete one orbit of the Sun. That's 243 Earth days to rotate once, the longest rotation of any planet in the solar system, and only 224.7 Earth days to complete an orbit of the Sun. Surface of Venus. Exploring the surface of Venus is difficult because of the intense heat and crushing air pressure. The longest any spacecraft has survived on the surface is a little over 2 hours, a record set by the Soviet Union's Venera 13 probe in 1981. The probe returned the first colour images of the surface of Venus. The last spacecraft to land on Venus was the Soviet Vega 2 mission in '85. It survived only 52 minutes. Earth-based radio telescopes also study Venus, including the Goldstone Solar System Radar in California, Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico, and Green Bank Observatory in West Virginia. Of course, you don't need a spacecraft or a telescope to observe Venus. It's the third brightest object in our sky after the Sun and Moon. It's easy to spot in the evening or morning sky, and people have been watching Venus with their own eyes since ancient times. As one of just two bodies between Earth and the Sun, Venus periodically passes across the face of the Sun, a phenomenon called a transit. The most recent transit occurred in 2012, and the next one isn't until December 2117. Moon systems of Venus. Venus does not have any moons. It is one of two planets in our solar system to not have any moons, the other being Mercury. It is likely neither Mercury nor Venus has any moons because of their proximity to the Sun. Is there life on Venus? Studies have suggested that billions of years ago Venus's atmosphere may have been like ours, and that there may have been subsequential quantities of liquid water on the surface. However, over a period of 600 million to several billion years, the Sun evaporated this water. Whilst the surface conditions on Venus are no longer habitable for any Earth-like life that may have formed before the shift in the atmosphere, there is speculation on the possibility that life exists in the upper cloud layers of Venus. Phases. The phases of Venus are the variations of lighting seen on the planet's surface, like that of lunar phases. The first person to observe these was Galileo Galilei in 1610. Galileo's observation that Venus appeared in phases like those of Earth's moons in our sky was evidence that Venus orbited the Sun. For centuries, it was believed that the Sun and planets revolved around the Earth, but Galileo's observations proved otherwise. And with that, we've come to the end of our video. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, goodbye.